leave. Well, you're not the only one who has built. So there's been construction on one side of them, on the other side of them, in front of them, behind them, for the last 6 years. But to have it go extending until midnight is just unfair to the people who live here. It really, really is.
Commissioner Garcia, is there action that you would like the commission to take in support of your efforts on behalf of your constituents?
I will be asking for that, but until I finish my meetings with the commission we want to do this as a joint group rather than single.
All right. So, something for the December agenda, perhaps?
Yes,
Right.
definitely.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Last but not least, before we quickly take care of some housekeeping issues, we have representatives from PEPCO to make a short
Alfred.
presentation on the Exelon merger.
That's why I saw it. And in full disclosure, I work for PEPCO. I work with Mark.
Thank you very much for having me here again. My name is Mark Battle. I'm Vice President of PEPCO for the Washington, D.C. region. And I want to spend a few minutes talking about the proposed PEPCO-Exelon merger. So in April of this year, PEPCO and Exelon announced their plans to merge. PEPCO, as you know, is an electric company that serves Washington, D.C. More specifically, I should say, it's PEPCO Holdings and Exelon that are proposing the merger. PEPCO operates in Washington, D.C. and Maryland. Delmarva Power and Light, which is another subsidiary of PEPCO Holdings, operates in Maryland and Delaware. And then Atlantic City Electric operates in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Those are the three utilities under the PEPCO Holdings umbrella. Exelon is a corporation based in Chicago that owns three utilities. Exelon owns ComEd, which serves the Chicago area. It owns PECO, which serves the Philadelphia area. And it owns Baltimore Gas and Electric, which was the most recent acquisition of Exelon. So in order for the merger to be approved, it has to be actually approved by each of the public service commissions where PEPCO Holdings currently operates. So we filed our merger applications in DC, Maryland, Delaware, and New Jersey over the last several months. We also filed an application with the Department of Justice, also with the state of Virginia because of transmission lines going through Virginia, and also FERC. So the regulatory process is underway in all the jurisdictions. So far, Virginia recently approved of the merger, but again, we have ways to go because all of the jurisdictions have to approve the merger. With respect to the DC Commission, there's a legal standard that has to be met, which is basically that the merger be found to be in the public interest. And the Commission has undertaken a process. They've identified several general areas that they'll look at to ensure that the merger is in the public interest. And when we say public interest, that specifically means that there has to be a benefit that customers see. It can't just be that customers are not harmed. Customers have to actually get something positive out of this. And so what we've tried to do is show the public benefit in two very distinct areas. There's a financial benefit and a reliability benefit. The financial benefit comes in the form of a $100 million customer investment fund that PEPCO and Exelon are offering, which will be split between the jurisdictions where we currently operate. Again, DC, Maryland, Delaware, and New Jersey. The $100 million will be divided among the jurisdictions based on the number of customers in each area. PEPCO's Washington, D.C. operation has approximately 14% of the customers in the entire footprint. Therefore, PEPCO D.C. would get $14 million out of the $100 million. The $14 million would be directed by the Public Service Commission to be used in any way that the Commission deems appropriate for customers. It could be, just rebates to all customers. It could go into a low-income assistance fund. It could go towards renewable energy. The Commission is, entertaining comments and proposals from a lot of interested parties about how the $14 million could be used. So I'll make two other points, and now I'll be happy to take some questions. Shortly after the merger was announced and plans were filed with the commission, Pepco met with its unions, renegotiated contracts, of course favorable to the unions, and so our unions are on board with the merger. Pepco is committed also that there will be no net loss of utility jobs for at least 2 years following the merger. And I stress at least 2 years because in any merger, you're going to have to find some efficiencies, otherwise it wouldn't make sense for the companies to even be going down that road. So there will be some corporate efficiencies, probably at the highest levels. We'll see some of our most senior executives. For example, our CEO, Joe Rigby, is retiring after the merger is consummated. And so the CEO of Exelon will be the CEO of the parent company going forward. There's a lot more to talk about. I have a lot of materials here. I have plenty for the audience as well. So I think I'll stop and take any questions you might have.
So we are short on time and we have a couple of housekeeping issues to take up, but I just wanted to ask you about the Office of the People's Counsel's opinion on the merger. The Office of the People's Counsel, which represent the ratepayers of the District of Columbia, is in opposition to the merger. This is a quote from a press release on their website. Overall, there are far too many risks for consumers and nothing but benefits for Pepco and Exelon, said Sandra Mavis-Fry, the People's Counsel. The so-called benefit of a short-term $14 million customer investment fund is consumed by the uncertainty and risk associated with the 3 R's, reliability, rates, and renewables, all major areas where this application falls short. If this merger is approved, consumers are likely to see higher rate increases than if the merger were not approved. So that's probably the most alarming issue related to the proposed merger, and also the issue of job losses, long-term and negative impact on the economic stability of the District of Columbia were also raised.
So very quickly, can I try to run through the 3 R's? So rates. We have committed publicly and in our filing that there will be no rate increase associated with the merger. So there's a lot of expense associated with the merger. None of those expenses will find their way into a rate increases passed on to customers. Secondly, we believe that there's actually going to be savings that accrue to customers because of efficiencies of scale you have when you have a much larger utility. We'll be able to buy supplies at a much lower rate, poles, vehicles, things like that, the wires that we have to purchase. Getting that done at a much greater scale will result in savings to customers. Reliability. We have committed in our filing that, number one, our reliability improvements that are well underway now, especially over the last 2 or 3 years, will continue. The DC undergrounding plan will continue as planned, and Exelon specifically is committing to accelerated reliability improvements that are separate and apart from what the Commission requires, and is also offered to pay penalties if Exelon does not meet those reliability improvements that have been promised. And so there's great comfort within the company that reliability improvements will continue and will increase, otherwise the company would not be offering to pay a penalty above and beyond that which we'd have to pay if we didn't meet the Commission standards. And the last point I think was renewables. Pepco has an excellent record on renewable energy. We work very, very closely with DC Sun and other proponents of solar and really helping to expand the solar market within DC. Exelon also has a very, very strong record on renewables. Exelon actually is the 10th largest producer of wind energy in the country. They have huge assets in solar, one of the largest solar farms in Chicago, a huge one underway in California. Exelon actually has built the largest rooftop solar installation in Washington, D.C.
Until mine.
I'm sorry?
Until mine. We have 97 solar panels going up on my building now, and we'll have another 97 within the next year.
Okay.
And so we will be the biggest in D.C.
Okay. But Exelon has a stellar record with respect to just clean energy and also supporting renewables. I think those are the 3 R's. There was one other point I think you mentioned. If I can, I'm sorry.
Workers.
Jobs. So I mentioned the union contract calls for more hiring at the local level. Also, I did mention that there will be no net loss of jobs, at least for 2 years. And, one can't predict with uncertainty, which positions will not be here, but I think the best way you can think about what might happen is if you look at a previous merger. They made the same commitment with Baltimore Gas and Electric. There have been no layoffs. There's no net loss of jobs in BG&E following their merger. I think the reason why is because in the utility industry, it's an aging workforce. And so a lot of people have taken buyout packages, for lack of a better word. And so, although you might have fewer people, it's not people being laid off, it's people who might have been close to retirement, but they're offered a generous package. And so, that's where you might have seen some attrition. That's where we might see some attrition, but there were no forced layoffs in the BG&E merger, and that's what we expect here.
All right, well, thank you very much. If people are interested in the 7 public interest factors that the Office of the People's Counsel has determined are not in the consumer's benefits, you can go to opc-dc.gov, opc-dc.gov for that information. Thank you very much.
Can I also add, I'm sorry, that
We have to leave by 9 o'clock. I do apologize. We do need to move on to conclude our business. So, approval of, no other new business, no other old business, approval of minutes of the October the 6th, 2014 meeting. In the interest of time, I'll move that the commission approve the minutes subject to corrections submitted to our recording recorder. And I would ask for a second.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you very much. Approval of the treasurer's report, Commissioner Jack.
Yeah. Currently, ANC 60 has a balance of $60,098.05 in our checking account. I move that we approve the treasurer's report.
Seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you very much. Approval of expenses.
I move that ANC 60 pay the amount of $300 to Miller Copying, which is a discount of $100 for the copying estate for our November newsletter, and also pay our minute taker Karen Yealy the amount of $125 for the taking and preparation of our November meeting minutes.
I second the motion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. There being no time for any announcements, unfortunately, I will just remind everyone that the next meeting of the Advisory Neighborhood Commission 60 will take place on Tuesday, December the 2nd, 2014, at the Terrell Recreation Center, which is in this building, on the other side of the building. And I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
It's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we do need to vacate the building, so if you have any matters to discuss with members of the commission, if you be so kind as to take them outside, we will meet with you shortly. Thank you.
his look to you.
Hi, I'm just fine. Trying to follow up with the status.
So I was just asking Commissioner Chapel what the status is, and unfortunately we have not heard back from
I think we should.
these notaries office, so I asked them to follow up. Because we really can't make the check until